Rico, what do you have for us?
Well, Mike, Pistons selecting at number 5. I'm giving you 6 prospects that should be available for them. We do this every year. Some of their strengths, some of their weaknesses, who they compare to, and just so that a lot of fans will know when they say a name, a little bit about them. So let's start off with Reed Sheppard, 6'2", combo guard from the University of Kentucky. He's 20 years old. He's being compared to a Steve Nash or a Derek White. They say he's a great shooter, tough defender. He averaged 12 and a half points a game. He shot 52% from the three-point line.
And again, problem is, how do you project a 6'2" guard in today's NBA? That's tiny. This is not 1986 with Isaiah. If you are Ja Morant and you're 6'2", and you're an alien athletically, okay. Look, Reed Sheppard, okay. I still have PTSD watching what the hell he did against OU.
And I was about to say, if you're a Detroit Pistons fan, you have to forget that OU game and realize that you witnessed probably the worst game of his life going back to high school. But yeah, the thing is, being 6'2", Mike, in the NBA, if you're that small, you got to do something well. If you're shooting 52% from three,
right,
you're doing something well.
The point I make to you is, if your best calling card besides shooting is your defense, you're not guarding anybody at 6'2", 180 in this league. I get very afraid by that. But okay, fine. And he's 19. Fine. There's developmental room there. That's a theme with me. More on that later.
It is. Devin Clingan, center, 20 years old, from UConn, national champions. He's being compared to Rudy Gobert, Marc Gasol. They say that he's got great interior scoring, rebounding, defense. He averaged 13 points a game, 7.5 rebounds. He's a rim protector. The cons for him, he's a slow perimeter defender, hard time getting out, stopping the three-point, and he needs advanced post moves. Basically, when you dump it into him, he's got one move, and if that one move fails, he's got to kick it back out.
Yeah, and look, Pistons are not in a position to pass on good players. If he's there, you probably take him, but you'd have now not one but two centers who can't shoot, don't have a post game, and are not really good as the anchor of a switch-all defense. They tried it with Duren, didn't work, and with Clingan, I think it would be a disaster. Do I like him? Of course I do. I like him a lot better if it's on a team like the Spurs,
right,
or if it's on a team that has multiple perimeter weapons. I get scared, but again, I don't hate the player.
David, comment?
Yeah, all I see in the back of my head is the highlights of Rudy Gobert versus Luka Doncic. That's all that will be with Clingan.
At number 3, Stephan Castle. He's a combo guard. Castle is 20 years old. Castle averaged 11 points a game, 23% from the three-point line. He is from UConn. His pros, he can catch fire as a shooter. Very streaky, but when he's on, he's on. He thrives in the pick and roll, and he's a good on-ball defender. Cons, he shoots under 70% from the free throw line and under 30% from the three-point line. He is inconsistent with his shot. Like I said, he's streaky. When he's on fire, he's great. When he's not so much. His comp is Andre Iguodala.
I really like the player. Pistons need winners.
6'5", and he's almost 20 years old.
I like the player. They need guys who win. They need guys who are workers. Castle's a hustler. He's the first guy in, last guy out. They need players that want to be great. I get terrified, and if you go deeper into the metrics, it's a guy who on catch and shoot, open threes, shot about 17%. Hey, man, yeah, all these guys are going to have to teach him how to play basketball, basically. Castle can guard, and he's a wing.
Yeah.
And you could put him out there with Cade, and you got a pair of guys that are 6'6", 6'7". So, yeah, I get it. And he's, 20? How old is he?
19, not quite 20 yet.
I'm in.
Okay.
I'm in.
Speaking of age, Dalton Knecht.
I'm out.
Tennessee, 6'5", he's 23 years old, averaged 22 points a game, and shot 40% from the three-point line. His comp is Chris Middleton and Max Strus. Talented, his pros, talented shooter. He was the go-to guy at Tennessee when they needed a bucket. It went to him. He could handle the double team well. Either he would get the basket or he would find the open man. His con, he needs to improve his defense. It seems like sometimes teams picked on him and went after him when he was on the court.
Yeah, this will be something we talk about later. I'm not drafting a 23-year-old. I mean, that's like Matlock in NBA years. You know, if you're talking about an 18-year-old like Ron Holland or 19-year-old like Reed Sheppard, you've got 4 more years of development you've lost. I think you could take him, and it'd be safe, and everybody would buy the jersey, and he'd be a bench player in a couple of years. I just don't see stardom for him. He's not a plus athlete, and he's not a good defensive player. Now, can he make every shot in the tree? Like a leaner, George would love him. High gun, leaning gun, laser gun. Well, here's the thing for it. Your microphone's not on, gun.
You're right. We'll get into this down the line because he's the guy that, yes, he can score points. He's the guy that I like. He's the guy that if they said he was coming here, I think you get better because this team couldn't score points, period. All right. I'm going to save the best for last. So we're going to go to Cody Williams, Colorado, 6'6", 20 years old. His comp, Jalen Rose. He averaged 12 points a game, shot 41.5% from the three-point line. His best attribute, he would be considered a point forward, his handles. That's what his strength of his game is. He's a fluid scorer. He works well with the pick and roll, and he's an alert defender. The cons for Cody Williams, he has a problem defending at the rim. He's got a problem finishing at the rim. He's not great with the mid-range game either, and he's got a small frame, meaning he's skinny. Somebody's going to have to get him into the weight room and bulk him up.
Yeah, I mean, his total project, by the end of the year, he was coming off the bench for Colorado. He weighs like 185 pounds and is 6'9". All these guys, I'm more inclined, and we'll get into it. He's a project. He's a guy, it's all development. Might grow another inch or two. How does he react to putting on 20, 25 pounds of muscle? How does his game evolve? Right. I think if you're taking a Cody Williams or you're taking a Buzelis or you're taking any of these French dudes, you're hoping you take a guy that eventually turns into Pascal Siakam or right. OG Anunoby. Like, Rico, it's all projection.
It is.
So I don't have this huge opinion on these. Like how would I have an opinion on Ron Holland, who's 18? And went to G-League United or whatever.
No,
I can't.
Mike, they're all lottery tickets. Finally, the best for last.
Buzelis.
Matis Buzelis.
Team Tellem.
G-League Ignite. He's almost 20 years old. He's 6'9". His comparison, Franz Wagner, Lamar Odom. He scored, averaged 14 points a game, shot 23.3% from the three-point line, and 7 rebounds a game. He versatile offensive player who can be used in any scheme because of his high feel as a passer. He isn't a savant playmaker who will lead the offense per se, but he's the type of player who could thrive in a two-man game with other like-minded players.
Look, he's a wing. He's got a more NBA-ready body, and he is a defender. Offensively, I'm sorry, but if you can't shoot 30% in the G League, boy, do we got a long way to go.
Well, that's the problem. The downside for him, he is a streaky shooter. He has trouble finishing at the rim, and he has a negative assist-to-turnover ratio.
Oh, hot.
So
love it.
You're going to be bringing in somebody who turns over the ball a lot on a 14-win team.
I'm sorry.
David?
I'm sorry.
I'm upset now. That's all.
Thank you for that. This was really, I'm so stoked.
Hey, man, I try to give you some of the – look, everybody doesn't know these players, but I figured I would help you tomorrow when it comes time to the NBA draft. When you hear these names, just think of this and, yeah.
Nothing gets me excited like a player comp to Kyle Kuzma. Thank you for that.
At least I didn't say the comp is Amen Thompson, 97-1.